it was Dos Oruguitas which was nominated for the Best Song Academy Award, but the Suez Sons channel sincerely believes that it is We Don't Talk About Bruno which deserved the nomination. Here's 5 reasons why We Don't Talk About Bruno deserves a nod at the Oscars. Number 5. It's one of the most creative title lines for a movie song. Composer and songwriter Miranda tries to extract as much mileage as he can out of every line, every word, and that's exactly what he's done here by naming the uncle Bruno so that he can use that one word to convey that the uncle is a taboo, no topic.
We don't talk about Bruno, no.
In an earlier version of the movie script, the uncle was called Oscar, but Miranda chose the name Bruno. And this is possible because he was involved early on in the project when he still had a say in naming a major character in the movie. And this is kind of a life lesson to all of us. Bring everybody on board early on in your project. That way they can all contribute to the creative decisions that make the project cohesive and beautiful. Number 4. This song uses the perfect musical structure for gossip, which is the topic of the song. The protagonist goes to each of her family members and they each have something to say about the missing Uncle Bruno. So they sing their individual lines, each has its individual tune, but towards the end of the song, all of these thoughts are going on in her mind, and during this segment of the song, the family members, they sing the same lines which they sang before, but they sing it simultaneously at the end. And yet they all sound harmonious together. This kind of a musical structure is called a madrigal, which is the last name of the family, Madrigal. You see how composer Miranda has extracted as much mileage as he can out of every little detail? And it also rhymes with magical. They all have magical powers. And the word madrigal comes from Latin matricalis, which means maternal. And this is a matriarchy, a family run by a female head. I'm telling you, this movie was planned like a grandmaster plans his chess moves. Number 3. We Don't Talk About Bruno is a cultural phenomenon that I'd like to call addiction. It's kind of a delayed addiction to a novel and complex song. Now initially you might have a reaction to the song, but just after a few times of listening you become addicted to the song. This happens especially when a song incorporates music from other cultures, something which you're not familiar with. And this kind of addiction phenomenon has been observed many times in India, especially with the music of composer A.R. Rahman. So We Don't Talk About Bruno might mark the beginning of this phenomenon in the USA. And I've spoken about this in detail in another video. Do check it out at the end. Number 2. The lyrics pull a quadruple load, no less than the lyrics of Dos Oruguitas. Now, we see the story advancing through the lyrics. Mirabel goes from asking curious questions all the way to seeking out her uncle. And important family events happen in the middle. And we see the character arcs. We see the hopes, fears, and dreams of each character. We see the inter-character dynamics, like the married couple dynamics of Felix and Pepa, or the rivalry between Dolores and Isabella. And it's also biting commentary on how society gossips and finds scapegoats for their problems. Bruno had the gift of telling the future, but people started blaming him for their problems.
He told me my fish would die the next day. Dead. No.
He told me I'd grow a gut, and just like he said.
Those Oruguitas uses beautiful metaphors to convey sad and heavy emotions. Here there's no metaphors, they're actually literal lines, but the song is pretty sad if you read between the lines. And the number one reason, the emotional essence of the song carries a crucial social message. I know many of us were sad and had tears in our eyes during the tragic events of those Oruguitas. Let's ask this question. What kind of person gets on a horse and sets fire to the homes of innocent people? Is it a happy person? No, it's an angry person. Perhaps it's somebody who has nothing more to lose, somebody who's isolated, somebody who feels they've been wronged. Somebody like Bruno. Bruno's been treated unfairly his whole life. The village people blame all their problems on him, and he's got nothing to do with it. And he's isolated himself in solitary confinement for so many years because of this. And he's been an absolute sweetheart about it, but very often it's a person like this who reaches breaking point and turns violent in society. If we were sensitive, like Mirabel was, we wouldn't go along with the gossip in the family and the village. We would reach out to this uncle and try to avert disaster. That's the message of the film. And that's the essence of the song, to show leadership in the midst of toxic patterns, beautifully depicted visually and musically. I think these days all our attention is focused on tragedies. The news is about tragedies. The justice system operates by punishing after the tragedy happens. The award ceremonies award all the tragic dramas. It seems like all our attention is focused after the fact. If someone from Encanto wins an Oscar, I hope they're like, well, hello Bruno, to honor Uncle Bruno because he represents every troubled person who can still be saved and every problem that can be caught before it's too late. This Oscars, let's talk about Bruno. Let's talk about all the Brunos that we know. See you on another episode. Check out other videos on this channel and don't forget to subscribe.